Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, sir.
Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. All praise is due to Allah. Unfortunately, brothers and sisters, our beloved student regional minister, Brother Rodney Muhammad, and others have had some power outages due to a violent storm that came through our area. But we are going to go ahead and get started anyway. We do have our beloved sister Linda, who is also in the ministry class out of Muhammad Mosque number 12. I see Sister Linda. Who else is on from this particular round of, we would call it almost a part 2 or a second phase of the Civilized Man call. I'm on, Sister Linda is on, is Brother Jabril on? Well, we look to see our brother, if he is able to come on, Brother David Hassan, if he is able to come on. So we'll go ahead, brothers and sisters, and we'll open up in prayer, and then I will open up, and then we will allow our sister to say a few words. We don't want to leave you without something. So I'll go ahead and open up in prayer. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, all praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Merciful, Master of this day of judgment in which we now live. Thee alone do we beseech thee for aid. Thy aid we seek. O Allah, guide us on the straight path, the path of those upon whom thou hast bestowed favors, not the path of those thy wrath is brought down upon, nor those who go astray after hearing thy teachings. Ameen. Brothers and sisters, we want to welcome you to our next phase of the Civilized Man. We will have another group of strong working helpers and followers of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad here in the Delaware Valley, assisting and helping our region and our student regional minister, Brother Rodney Muhammad. We thank you for tuning in, and we ask that you please pardon us for the delay. As I mentioned before, we have some severe storms that came through this Delaware Valley region, and many people have power outages, including some of our participants, as well as our student minister, Brother Rodney Muhammad. But I would like to, before we get started, I would like to open up by just introducing you to our beloved sister, Linda. I think it's appropriate to allow our sister to go first, since ladies are first, and she is in the ministry class in Muhammad Mosque number 12, a strong sister in the ministry class. And we hope that the women throughout this broadcast, this call live on Facebook and here on Zoom, have an opportunity to hear the perspective of what we have received from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan through the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's teaching from a woman. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said to us, and he taught us to respect and protect the Black woman. And this is something that is absolutely necessary in order for us to be redeemed as a people. The Black woman must be elevated and she must be protected. And the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad absolutely civilizes and transforms the woman, whom he said 75% of his work is with. So I don't want to delay. I want to introduce our sister so that she can introduce her subject and give her the time to share with you what she has learned from her perspective and from the guidance and wisdom of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Brothers and sisters, we like to welcome to the Civilized Man call, which is also the Civilized Woman call, our beloved sister, Sister Linda Muhammad.
All praise is due to Allah. Thank you so much, Brother Student Minister Michael Muhammad. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness there is no God but Allah, who appeared to us in the divine person of Master Father Muhammad, to whom all holy praises forever due. I bear witness the most honorable Elijah Muhammad was taught and raised by the God. He is Allah's divine reminder. He is the Moses that we read about in the scripture that was prophesied to come. He is the eternal leader of the nation of Islam. And lastly, family, I bear witness the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is Allah's divine reminder and warner. He is Allah's grace and mercy to us, a comforter to us, the eternal door to that eternal leader of the nation of Islam, the Aaron to the Moses. I greet my family. And I'm sorry, he is the Jesus, now Messiah in our midst. I greet my family this evening in the nation's greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you again, Brother Student Minister Michael. All praise is due to Allah. I thank our dear and beloved Student Regional Minister, Brother Ravi Muhammad, for this opportunity. I am certainly honored and humbled. I, in and of myself, can do nothing were it not for the teachings, and not only present in past tense, in present tense, but for the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad as taught and exemplified by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Your humble sister would not be before you. So I thank Allah again for this opportunity. The topic, beloved family, that we will be sharing some thoughts and words on this evening is the woman in Islam. And before we get started, I just like to say that we're taught Islam means freedom, justice, and equality, which are rights that all human beings are entitled to. I say that to say, family, to not allow labels to divide us, in that, you know, someone may say, well, you know, I don't subscribe to Islam, or I'm not a Muslim, which is simply one who submits his or her will to do the will of Allah God. Let us not allow labels to divide us. Let us, you know, have an open mind and an open ear. And if information is shared, family, that we feel is beneficial for us, then let us receive that information. Again, not allowing labels to divide us. So with that being said, because when we talk about the woman, as we are striving to be a righteous woman, a virtuous woman, that does not, a virtuous and righteous woman does not have a label or a quote unquote religious subscription tied to being righteous, tied to being virtuous. Mm-hmm. So all praise is due to Allah. And Brother Michael said it so beautifully through the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, where we're taught that 75% of the work is with the woman. So with that being said, family, let us get into the information that we would like to share this evening. I will be sharing my screen, so give me one moment to do that. And then we can go ahead and, by the grace and permission of Allah, share what we need to share this evening. All praise is due to Allah. Now, when we talk about, again, the woman, some folks may ask, or some people may be thinking, well, does the woman even have a role in Islam? Or does the woman even have a role when it comes to the scriptures or to Allah's thinking? In the Holy Quran, there is no difference that is made between the man and the woman when it comes to the bestowing of reward for the good that the male or the female does. And we'll take a look at some verses in the Holy Quran, which will, inshallah, be it the will of Allah, support that. In the Holy Quran, in chapter 3, verse 194, we read, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. I will not suffer the work of any worker among you to be lost, whether male or female, the one of you being from the other.
That's right.
Come on.
Also, another surah, chapter 4 or surah 4, verse 124, we read, and whoever does good deeds, whether male or female, and he or she is a believer, these will enter the garden, and they will not be dealt with a whit unjustly. In chapter 16, verse 97, we read, whoever does good, whether male or female, and is a believer, we shall certainly make him live a good life, and we shall certainly give them their reward for the best of what they did. And then to close out this, in chapter 40, verse 40, and whoever does good, whether male or female, and he is a believer, these shall enter the garden, to be given therein sustenance without measure. So as we shared, family, these 4 verses from the Holy Quran, we see that Allah absolutely lets us know that the woman has a role when it comes to, and particularly the last 3 verses that we shared, where we read about the doing of good deeds.
Yes.
And the word "and" is inserted there. And is used as a function word to indicate a connection or an addition. What we see, family, is that not only is Allah God letting us know that male or female is considered or taken into consideration when it comes to the doing of good deeds, but in addition to that, or in connection with the doing of good deeds, we have to be a believer, family. So doing good deeds and being a believer, or in addition to being a believer, look at the blessings that Allah bestows on us, family, when we are on that journey of doing good deeds and being a believer.
Come on.
Again, whether male or female. So we thank Allah. All praise is due to Allah. Now, this particular verse in the Holy Quran, one of my favorites, I have many, however, this particular one is certainly one of my favorites. In Surah 33, Ayat 35, powerful, we read, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Surely the men who submit and the women who submit, and the believing men and the believing women, and the obeying men and the obeying women, and the truthful men and the truthful women, and the patient men and the patient women, and the humble men and the humble women, and the charitable men and the charitable women, and the fasting men and the fasting women, and the men who guard their chastity, and the women who guard, and the men who remember Allah much, and the women who remember. Allah has prepared for them forgiveness and a mighty reward. So that perception of, women, particularly in Islam, they take a back seat. Oh, the women are docile and submissive. they have no place in Islam. I beg to differ because the God, where we just read from the verses from the Holy Quran, where we're taught that in that book, the Holy Quran, there is no doubt. And we are also taught, and we read in the Holy Quran, that Allah is the best knower.
Yes.
Right.
With Allah being the best knower, he lets us know that when it comes to the bestowing of blessings, when it comes to the doing of good deeds, he is including the female right along with the male. I'd like to, at this time, family, lift some words from our dear and beloved Mother Tainetta Muhammad. May Allah be well pleased with Mother Tainetta Muhammad, who did a series of books titled the Women in Islam Educational Series. And again, family, I like to remind us to not allow labels to cause division.
Right.
Come on.
So as we read and take a look at the words from Mother Tainetta Muhammad, Mother Tainetta wrote, I have chosen to write on this subject of the messenger's domestic life and the manifestation of the disbelievers and the hypocrites under the title of the woman in Islam, because it is the duty of the woman to defend the faith and to defend truth at all costs. It is the duty of the Muslim woman to help in the teaching and the propagation of Islam in the raising up of a nation. Want to take a look, family, and just talk briefly about that word duty. One of the definitions for the word duty, obligatory task, conduct, service, or functions that arise from one's position, a moral or legal obligation. When we talk about duty, family, as Mother Tainetta mentioned, it is the duty of the Muslim woman to help in the teaching and the propagation of Islam, and it's the duty of the woman to defend the faith and defend truth. Duty denotes action. We have to and must demonstrate duty, manifest our intentions. In other words, if our actions don't align with what we speak out of our mouths, we have to ask ourselves, are we really fulfilling duty? We may be familiar, family, with that term or that saying that action speaks louder than words.
Yes.
So again, when we talk about duty, it's one thing to say, oh, I've done my duty. However, do your actions manifest the doing of duty or fulfilling that duty? So we have to keep that in mind, family. Also, continuing on in the reading, Mother Tainetta talked about the propagation of Islam and the raising up of a nation. For a nation can rise no higher than its women. So teaches the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. When we talk about raising up a nation, family, there's an adage, and we may be familiar with it, where we say, when you teach a man, you teach an individual.
Right.
When you teach a woman, you teach a nation.
Teach a nation. Come on.
Because the woman, that's where life is created. The procreation of life comes through the woman. So, and when we talk about a nation, there's individuals that make up a nation. And the woman is the producer, or the woman gives life, being the second self of God. So when we talk about their woman raising up a nation, family, there absolutely is a critical and key role when it comes to the woman or the female. After God made the man in his own image from a single being or soul, then he made the woman to give comfort. Look at what Allah made the woman to do, to give comfort and to be a helpmate and the bearer of the load in the production of the family and in the teaching of spiritual truths to the nation. We thank Allah, family, again, when we talk about that woman, the woman. Now, another word that I want to focus on from the words that we lifted from our dear and beloved mother, Kainetta Muhammad, is helpmate. Helpmate. You may hear the term helpmate or help me. Those words can be used interchangeably. One definition for a helpmate or helpmeet is a helpful companion or partner, especially one's husband or wife.
Yes, come on.
Talk about that helpmeet or that helpmate. Yes. Now, what I like to do is share with us some scriptures that support and talk about that helpmeet or that helpmate that Allah created from himself. In the Holy Quran, in chapter 30, verse 21, we read, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, and of his signs is this, that he created mates for you from yourselves, that you might find quiet of mind in them. And he put between you love and compassion. Surely there are signs in this for a people who reflect. And if you would indulge me, family, there's a footnote that goes along with that particular verse that I'd like to read because I feel that I believe that it's germane. The footnote reads, the close relation between the male and the female, that is husband and wife, is expressed in words which indicate the closeness of the union to such an extent as to have misled many to suppose that the act of the physical creation of the female from the male is implied. But the Quran explains itself when it refers to the ties of love and compassion and to a quietness of mind, which a married person finds in his mate. The verse gives us the Islamic ideal of marriage, which serves the purpose not only of the increase of the human race, where we talked about family, and I'm stepping away from the footnote for a moment, the woman being a critical and crucial part in the building up and raising up of a nation. Going back to the particular footnote, so not only in the increase of the human race, but also that of the spiritual advancement of both the man and the woman by referring to the quietness of mind which they find in each other. That quietness of mind.
Come on.
In a world filled with turmoil, in a world filled with so much chaos, where evil is made fair seeming,
yes,
who would not want quiet of mind?
Come on. Yes, ma'am.
In their yes. So when we talk about that helpmate or that helpmeet, where the man can find consolation and comfort and quiet of mind in that virtuous woman, that woman who is striving daily to be virtuous, striving daily to be righteous. So that helpmeet and that helpmate is so important, family. In the Bible, in the book of Genesis, chapter 2, verse 18, in the New International Version, we read, the Lord God said, it is not good for the man to be alone.
Alone. Yes,
I will make a helper suitable for him.
Yes.
That same verse in the Bible, in the King James Version, we read, and the Lord God said, it is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him and help me for him. That the common denominator in both helpmate and help me is the word help.
Come on.
The definitions for the word help. Make it easier for someone to do something by offering one's services or resources, to give assistance or support to make more pleasant or bearable. So again, the female, the woman, being a helper to the man. That's Allah created the woman to be a consoler, to be a source of quiet of mind for the man, to help him as he goes out to meet his obligations again in a world filled with chaos and turmoil.
Right,
that
right.
woman is to help that man when he comes back in. Be that source of comfort and consolation for that man. Be that source of encouragement for that man. So all praise is due to Allah.
That's right.
Family, for the woman, it is just so very important for that partnership, for that man to be able to find comfort and solace. Now, again, the man meeting his obligations, doing what he needs to do, helping that man to move along on his journey to become one with Almighty God, Allah. So, as we look, family, to round out and close out on our discussion of the woman in Islam, what better way to close than with words from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, from that magnificent series the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan did, titled The Time and What Must Be Done. And I want to lift the minister's words from part 38. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan stated, the Prophet Muhammad said, heaven lies at the foot of mother. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, the only heaven for man is found in a woman. Who doesn't want heaven? Excuse me, family. Who doesn't want heaven?
Come on.
I don't know anyone who would, who doesn't want heaven. And we're taught heaven is not some place in the sky. Heaven is a condition of mind. So if you have a woman who is striving to be virtuous, striving to be righteous, striving to be a helpmate to that man in his journey, to do and fulfill his duty by way of his action, why would you not want heaven here on earth? Just as we must learn to love the gift of the cow, we must learn to love the gift of the female, because she is our earth. She produces so much good for us.
Yes.
If she is treated properly.
Come on.
If she is handled properly.
Yes.
And if she is taught and guided properly, she can produce so much good for us, family. So much good. That comforter, that quiet of mind that you're looking for. All of that is tied into the woman being treated properly, being handled properly, being taught and guided properly. And that is why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad set up a marvelous class for women.
Yes.
The Muslim Girls Training and General Civilization class, also known as the MGT and GCC, where they are taught the basics of how to be a good woman that is a good mother of her children, knowing not only how to rear her children, but also how to keep house, how to take care of her husband, how to sew, how to cook, how to act at home and abroad, and be our first teacher and our first nurse. So as we shared words, family, about the woman being a helpmate or helpmeet, the woman being instrumental in terms of raising up a nation, the units or the training that we receive in our MGT and GCC class,
Yes,
as you
yes.
notice, cover that, how to rear your children, how to keep house, how to have that home when your husband comes home, when that male comes home, that he finds quiet of mind in a house that is well kept, that is in order. Order, Allah is not the author of confusion. So if we are striving to submit our will to the God, then we have to emulate him, be an example. We can't have a home or a house that is in disorder or disarray, and we say we follow and submit to the God who is the author of order, law and order.
Right, right, right.
Excuse me, family, please pardon me. As I'll close out, family, again, beautiful words from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. In the Holy Quran, we read, and to whom Allah gives not light, he has no light. So may Allah bless us with the light of understanding, family. I thank you for allowing me to come before you for these brief moments.
Yes, ma'am.
And I leave you as I came before you in the greeting words of peace and paradise of Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, man. All praise is due to Allah. Brothers and sisters who are viewing us, this is why the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and God himself have come to do exactly what they have done. Our beloved, dear sister, student, minister, Linda Muhammad, the way that she represented the MGT class to all the women who are watching, who are observing and listening. This is what you have at your disposal. You have a teaching that will make you into a woman of God. You did a fantastic job, man. And this is available to you. This is a woman in Islam, and she is a helper and a helpmeet to her husband, our beloved student regional captain, Brother Anthony Muhammad. So you're not listening to a featherweight today. You're listening to a sister who is a woman of God. And this is what Farrakhan has done. This is what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has done for us, brothers and sisters. And this is why he is valuable to us. And my subject goes into why we should understand Farrakhan better, why we should look at the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan better, observe him, really listen to him, follow him, and most of all, love him. He is a very valuable Black man, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Here is a man that could bring 1 million Black men from all walks of life, from all ages, all shapes and sizes and different thoughts and perspectives on God. Most of them were Christian. He brought all these men at the instruction of God to the Million Man March in 1995. There was not one incident, not one fight. As a matter of fact, when we left in 1995, and I was there, the place was clean. Parks and Recreation didn't have a lot of work to do the next day. This is a man who should be observed, a man that should be listened to. What man do you know other than his teacher and God himself, had the ability and the power to command such a strong showing of force and power based on love and affection. And he didn't ask the Black man to attack America. He asked them to atone and reconcile and go back home and sit with their women and their children and go to God together and ask for help and forgiveness. This is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. But sometimes, brothers and sisters, when we look at something that is valuable, and let me give you the definition of value. Value represents the importance or worth or usefulness of something. It is something or someone considered to be important or beneficial, or have someone you or something you have a high opinion of. In our relationships, brothers and sisters, we sometimes add value to someone based on what someone we respect says or does, or how they or that person views them. So my goal over the next several weeks, and our beloved sister, Sister Linda, will also continue on the Woman of Islam series, and I'll continue on understanding Farrakhan, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and others will continue as we get back on track next week. But what I hope to do over the next several weeks is almost create building blocks so that we can have a better perspective to first view and see him. See, because we look often, because of the way we were trained by the enemy of God, we only see Black people, particularly Black people who are divine, through the eyes of our enemies. Now, God wants us to see his man and one another through his eyes, through his lens.
That's right.
So how do you see a man who is divine? First, you must see yourself in a better light.
Right.
But you can't come to that light unless someone comes to teach you that.
That's right. That's right.
So we have to be taught. And the scripture tells us that one has to be sent so that we can come into the knowledge. See, because it is only on the basis of knowledge that we grow into a better understanding. So who is this man Farrakhan? How can he do what he does? And why is he so valuable to God? And we hope to answer those questions in the next coming weeks. But I was told that we in the ministry class, our beloved brother, Minister Jabril Muhammad, told me this one day. He said to me, he said, your job as a minister is to help the people see Farrakhan better. That is our job. Because Brother Michael doesn't have a mission. I am helping him in his mission to help his teacher,
That's right.
Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who has the mission to raise the dead.
Yes, sir.
So my mission is tied to his mission, but in order to follow him, I have to hear him, obey him, because he's the man on the job. See, brothers and sisters who are new to the teachings of Islam, who are new to what we're saying, this is not dogma. If you listened to our beloved student, Minister Sister Linda Muhammad, if you listened to her, she was always making a point of reference to something, to the Holy Quran, to the wisdom and the words of great teachers like Mother Tanetta Muhammad, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, because in their words, particularly in the Holy Quran, there is a foundational truth. And for women who are listening, you know, you may have never read the Holy Quran, but you know what she said and what she read is true because we are the people of truth, but we've been made other than ourselves. So when you hear the truth, it hits you a certain way. See, Farrakhan is a man that is made in a way that when you hear the truth come from him, it penetrates your soul.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Come on,
sir.
that's
Yes,
right.
sir.
He is a man
Go
that
ahead.
is made by God, fashioned by God,
Mm-hmm.
fashioned by God for his teacher, taught, trained, and educated by his teacher. I want to help us to understand the value of this man. And next week, I'll go into his value deeper, because sometimes we only see value as it relates to material.
Mm.
You only see the value of a car, not for what it does, getting you from point A to point B, not the fact that it runs well and never gives you problems.
Come on.
If you're in a Toyota, a 1995 Toyota Corolla that has 300,000 miles on it, and trust me, a Toyota will give you that if you maintain it right.
Right.
But that Benz pulls up next to you. If you don't know the value of the car that you have, if you've gotten 300,000 out of it, trust me, you know the value. You're going to look at the Benz and you're going to say, yeah, the oil changes are high, but mine only costs $25. So you know the value of your vehicle. But when you look at material things, and when you look at people as things, and not people who are of God, divine. We are all divine beings that come from God. We've been made other than ourselves by circumstances.
Come on.
And this is why God came. That which was lost. So I want to read as a point of reference, which you'll find many of us doing as a point of reference. I want to read something from this beautiful book, Closing the Gap.
Yes, sir.
The interviews of the heart, mind, and soul of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. For those of you that are not familiar with this book, this is a book that was compiled by our beloved brother, Minister Jabril Muhammad.
That's
and
right.
It is a series of interviews or interviews with him and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. If you really want to know Farrakhan, you got to study what he studied. You have to read what he read. You have to follow what he followed. You have to have a sincere desire to know the man, not just by the way he physically looks. You have to get past the physical. To really understand Farrakhan, you got to understand his heart. You have to understand his soul.
Right.
And how many of us take the time to really look at what it means to have a heart? Do we look at the definition of heart and the many definitions that there are of the word heart? Do we look at the word value, the many definitions of the word value? Do we get a dictionary, a book of synonyms, a book of antonyms? Do we look at words? Do we try to get to the root of what words mean? Because words matter.
That's right. That's right.
That's right.
So to understand Farrakhan's heart, you have to understand God. Because it is God and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that moves him the way he moves. And we hope to show you
Brother Mike,
how this happens. So I want to read to you from the introduction. Listen very closely, because we're talking about him, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Every student's dream is to be close to his or her teacher. So close that he or she is considered the favorite, and even closer that one day the student hopes to be like or equal to the one that's teaching. Any good student yearns for the day when his teacher calls upon him, because he takes pleasure in showing the teacher he got his lesson. Are we like that, brothers and sisters?
Come on.
Are we like that? If you're not a member of the Nation of Islam, are you even like that with God? Do you want to be like God? Not only is it the student's desire to be like the teacher or to one day become a teacher, it is the aim and purpose of the teacher that the student one day equals and even surpasses him. This is what fuels any good teacher. It is the driving force. It is also what gives him patience with the student, for he sees and knows the power that is active in the teacher lays dormant in the student. So it is the teacher's aim to ignite the energy that is potential and turn it to kinetic. Did you hear Sister Linda? Did you see the smile on her face the whole time she was teaching? She wasn't angry. She was happy because she's filled with the Spirit of God.
Oh, praises.
That kinetic energy. So the teacher will perform all kinds of stunts, if you will, to get the attention of the student, to show the student that what is inside of him. But oftentimes, instead of the students taking hold of the truth of the witness of his teacher as a sign of his own attributes, all the teacher gets is more accolades, claps, cheers, tears, and salutes. But that is not what he, the teacher, is after. In fact, he wants none of that. His greatest desire, that in which he came into the world for, and that which he will give his life for, is his student to become what he or she already is. Now listen to this part as I read this last paragraph, because this is key to understanding Farrakhan and understanding the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, because you can't understand Farrakhan in his fullness unless you really understand his teacher too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And then you have a greater understanding of God. See? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad stated that the ultimate aim and purpose of Master Farad Muhammad was and is to make each one into a God. If that is his hope, if that is his purpose, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad wouldn't have a purpose except for the purpose of Master Farad Muhammad, and the minister and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan wouldn't have a purpose except for the purpose of the student of the master. Then it is safe to say that the ultimate aim and purpose of Minister Louis Farrakhan is the same as the master, to make each one of us into a God. So how can you make somebody into a God if you yourself haven't met God? How can you make yourself into a God unless you yourself are a God? See, we're going to talk about that, because we believe in a mystery God, many of us. I just want you to put aside your belief that God is a spirit only, and listen to what we're saying on this civilized man call. Don't do yourself a disservice by rejecting what you hear without investigating the wisdom that you're listening to. Now, I'm going to close by reading something here. And I see we have our beloved brother David Hassan here, and our student minister in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, student minister Victor Muhammad. I hope you'll say a few words this evening. I am going to read this and close out because we're at the top of the hour. I want us to think about the value of a man like Farrakhan. This will help to lay the basis of future talks on the Civilized Man broadcast regarding this subject. This is the one by our brother Minister Jabril Muhammad. This is the first edition, actually, but I want you to think about what I'm saying, because everything I'm saying applies to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. As Brother Jabril explains in this writing, the terrible time that we're in and facing, even in the 70s, but also now today, he emphasizes the importance of there being a specially prepared man. And he says this: a unique man is required. Why a man? Well, why not a man? History shows that man's problems have always been solved by men. Men make problems. No other living thing tries to or succeeds in solving the difficulties produced by men but men. Man's problems are rooted in and begin with himself. Who else in the universe can he hold responsible except men for man's troubles? It is not true that man's hardships originate in his, is it not true that man's hardships originate in his brain? Is it not true that man's, other than man, who else can fathom man's brain? Every form of misery can be traced to what men think and the emotions their thinking produce. Harmful acts always spring from how men think and feel about themselves and others. We can't evade this. Certainly those who take God to be more than a spirit will take issue with some of this, omitting for a while the existence of God other than a man or a particular man. Try to imagine how other than a man can deal with man's problems. It is impossible to prove that humans are not essential to deal with human problems. This seems obvious. Just please give me a couple more minutes to get through this and follow his words very carefully. Really, really think about what he's saying here, brothers and sisters. We are fully immersed in these studies because these studies and these teachings change our lives. They work in our lives. So think about what Minister Jabril is saying here. Great problems require great answers. Great times of upheaval are never without men equal to the needs of those times. What are the qualities a man or the man must have to meet today's demand? Here are some of the qualities of the man this unique time requires. Now, I want you to think about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, but I want you to think about Farrakhan, who sits in his seat and is the father over the house in his absence, who is actually one with his father, doing a job that God has assigned him to do. These are the qualities, and you tell me if Farrakhan don't meet any of them. Mentally, he must be a giant. He must have an unusual power of thinking through appearances into their inner nature. His insight must pierce the most complex of today's issues at their roots. His comprehension of totality or sum of reality must be complete. The breadth of his vision must be as vast as the present array of questions that confront us. Yet, he must be capable of speaking of the complexities of reality in a manner that the average one can understand. Other mental qualities such as memory, open-mindedness, judgment, reason, concentration, and decision-making must be present in extraordinary measures and develop at a very high degree. It is important to have maturity of character as well as possess discipline of mind. So the man through whom the solution comes must be a moral powerhouse. That is to say, his character must be more than merely or exceptionally good, since the solution to man's ills will usher in a new order on a permanent base. The moral behavior of the man through whom this comes must manifest the moral order of the laws that work throughout the universe. We're talking about a man whom God is present in. See, we've been looking at God as a spook God for too damn long, brothers and sisters.
Yes, sir.
Unless he is the living manifestation of the highest moral principles, he cannot cope with the staggering problems which fill the world. He cannot have the mental strength to execute right judgments unless he draws from the limitless energy of divine morality. All of these leaders that are out here today, these activists that are out here today, they don't have that.
Yes, sir.
Not me putting someone against another, it's just a fact.
Go ahead.
Man, I have some more to read here, but I'm going to finish this up because I don't want to take up all the time. Kindness, truthfulness, fearlessness, courage, humility, patience, perseverance, good humor, enthusiasm, mercy, justness, unselfishness are qualities he must possess to a high degree that as will make him a unique man for a unique time. He cannot have the mental strength to execute right judgments unless he draws from the limitless energy of divine morality. I missed this part, but in other words, he must draw from the source of the energy which operates the sun, the moon, and the stars. Man, I'm going to skip through this and I'm going to go right down to the bottom. And I'm really doing this a disservice by skipping, but I have to stop. The nature, he says here, there is much to take into consideration as we ponder this much needed man. There are environmental factors to look into. Time must be considered, where as well as when he was born has much to do with the kind of success he has. All of this has bearing on the dangerous situation we find ourselves in today. Lastly, I'll read this. We live in the great and dreadful day of the Lord, prophesied of in the 4th chapter of Malachi. In that chapter, it is written that a man named Elijah would appear just before the terrific explosion of God's righteous anger. There is no doubt in the minds of a growing number of people that this Elijah here in America is in the person of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And I submit to you, brothers and sisters, in closing, that his errand to Moses, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Elisha, this one who was raised and trained and came from the womb of the mind of God, is in the person of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Yes,
So
sir.
brothers and sisters, thank you. We look forward to, and I look forward to you seeing you next week. I would like to pause at this point and bring on, if my brother is available, to say just a few words before we close out and bring on our beloved brother David Hassan, our student minister out of Muhammad Mosque, number 22. I see that look on your face, brother Victor. He said, get it right. Our brother Victor Muhammad. Salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, dear brother. In the most holy name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, who appeared in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, keeping the promise that he would come after a people who were lost from their own for 400 years. And in that people, he found one to raise among us as proof and evidence of his power in raising the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. We thank them both for preparing one for us today who sits in the seat of Messiah. And I speak of no other than the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I greet you, dear brothers and sisters, with the greeting words of peace in the Arabic language of Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, sir.
I am so pleasantly well fed and was hoping neither one of you would have stopped tonight because you all were so full and unleashed so much truth that has to be spoken among our people. And to drive home the point of the reality of God being a man, I would like to read something from page 6 of Message to the Black Man. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, God is a man, and we just cannot make him other than man, lest we make him an inferior one. For man's intelligence has no equal in other than man. His wisdom is infinite, capable of accomplishing anything that his brain can conceive. A spirit is subjected to us, and not we to the spirit.
To the spirit.
Habakkuk uses the pronoun he in reference to God. This pronoun he is only used in the case when we refer to a man or boy or something of the male sex. We now live in a world where the male sex is being obliterated. The male species is being made other than itself.
Right,
so now there's to be no boundaries, no relationship with one and the other. But look at what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says here. The spirit is subjected to us and not we to the spirit. Those without the discipline of an FOI or an MGT, those without proper leadership and representation of God always seem to give into their passion, and their passion is supposed to take priority over reason. When you have the reality of God, emotion doesn't overrule you. It doesn't mean we don't have them, but we're not subjected to them because we put them under control.
Yes, sir.
Without putting those emotions under control, we have the chaos and confusion we have today in the street. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said the originator wasn't perfect, but he wanted to perfect his order. So he called into existence trillions of years ago, Master Farad Muhammad. But in between that time, there was a man who became so angry that he could not get everyone to speak of the same dialect. And what we hear this in community meetings today is we can't get everybody on the same page. We can't get everybody together. And he became so frustrated that he loaded the earth with dynamite more powerful than TNT and blew out of the earth what we now know as moon. Well, today we have that same angry figure running around frustrated today in young Black men who do not have a love for self and a knowledge of self, so they become easily frustrated. Instead of blowing up the earth, they blow up one another.
Right.
We need to get to the reality of God now, and knowing that God learned how to deal with frustration.
Yes, sir.
God learned how to deal with disappointment. And it's all in the God process on how we deal with frustration and disappointment. Because without being able to deal with frustration and disappointment, you have only one choice, is to become the devil inside instead of the God within. There's a God within each and every one of us. He is the only reality. But what we do with his power, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, determines whether we're with God or we're with the devil.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Stop denying the Nation of Islam. I'm tired of watching documentaries on Dick Gregory and you don't mention Louis Farrakhan. I'm tired of watching documentaries on music festivals and as if the Nation of Islam was non-existent. I'm tired of hearing people talk about the Nation of Islam was only worried about the Nation of Islam when it was the Nation of Islam were the only ones in Black America that had substantial business all throughout the United States of America. And it was because of the Do for Self program that the FBI had the biggest trouble with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Yes, sir.
The FBI don't mind religious people. He don't want awake people. They don't want people who can actually inspire people to truth.
Yes, sir.
We've become so used to living with lies.
Come on, man.
When someone comes with the truth, it is a bitter taste. We've acquired a taste for lies because lies are not in our nature. It's an acquired skill. So we must return to our own. Stop talking about everybody that Elijah Muhammad produced without giving Elijah Muhammad credit. Stop quoting Malcolm and start getting into the discipline that made Malcolm. Stop just clapping for Farrakhan and start getting to the reality that produced the Farrakhan. Because as quiet as is a cat, there's a Farrakhan in each and every one of us. How do you know? Because he says, my sheep will know my voice.
Yes, sir.
Farrakhan is the voice of God. He's the voice of reason. He's the voice of salvation. And you can live under a prophet who came and died 2,000 years ago, came and died 1,400 years ago, but without a fulfillment of that prophet, you don't have a reality. You have a prediction that never came true. These predictions are coming true. So I will close on this point. A brother came to me one time and he said, Brother Victor, now you're a Muslim, right? I said, yes, sir. He said, well, why are you a FOI? Why aren't you an Orthodox Muslim? Why are you a fruit of Islam? Why don't you come into traditional Islam? I said, brother, I'm so glad you asked me that question. I said, beloved, we're the fruit of Islam, right? He said, yes. I said, but remember, a tree is not planted for the roots. It's not planted for the bark. It's not planted for the branches, and it's not planted for the leaves. It's planted for the fruit, because we are the final product of the prophecies.
Go ahead.
Come on, man.
So, and in the fruit is a sign of its origin. In the fruit is the seed in which it came from. And each and every one of us is the seed of God. And we can produce, but I thought he was not begetting or begotten. He's not beget or begotten, but he is trained and learned. And he comes in as a master.
Come on.
Because a master of the day of judgment is not the creator of the day of judgment. He masters the day of judgment as if he created it. And now he can put judgment on America. And we're seeing America being ripped up by rain, hail, snow, and earthquakes. The imbalance on America, hot on one side, burning up, rain on the other side, flooded up, and insanity all in between. You need a God that understands the reality of human beings and the nature that he's coming to bring about on the planet, so there'd be a peace like never before. May Allah continue to bless us with the light of his
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa
Walaikum salam. And thank you, Brother Student Minister Victor, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Brothers and sisters, this is what the ministry class of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is producing. It is producing men and women who are students of his teaching, who are scholarly in their application of his teaching and manifested in their lives. The Civilized Man broadcast or call is set aside by our student regional minister, Brother Rodney Muhammad, who had the vision to get this teaching out by the use of technology to other areas, not just in the Delaware Valley region, but as we know now, it's all over. So if you are desirous of learning more, male or female, we want you to learn more. We want you to join the Nation of Islam. If you're not ready for that, just continue to come back to the cause. And those brothers and sisters that are in the Nation of Islam, that are listening every week, invite your friends. Invite your family.
Yes, sir.
Invite your loved ones that they can come and they can listen and they can hear a word and they can get access to what you have access to. Because we are only as valuable as the work that we produce.
Yes, sir.
To sit and do nothing produces absolutely that, nothing. So brothers and sisters, we have another helper in the Delaware Valley ministry class, our beloved student minister, David Hassan, who will close us out by sharing with you some of the process that we have and what that process produces and what you can do to join on to your own and learn more about the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad through the guidance of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And someone will be reaching out to you. Let's bring on our brother, Brother David Hassan. Assalamu alaikum.
Salam. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. You are fine.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, I bear witness there is no God but Allah, and that Muhammad is his messenger. I greet you all in the greeting words of peace. We say in the ancient Arabic language of our fathers, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa
alaikum salam, sir.
All praise is due to Allah. And I just want to add from the beginning, I'm just your friendly, humble orientation facilitator. You announced me as student minister. There's a hard worker here trying to help the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. But I want to thank everyone who's on the call tonight for their time and attention. Thank all the presenters for what they brought. Speaking, all kind of lights are going off in my mind. I'm in here trying to readjust what I was going to say because it was feeding right into the words that I had already prepared. So I don't want to double talk. I want to thank Student Minister Rodney Muhammad for the opportunity to share a few words. And got the green light to go a little further tonight.
Mm.
Before we close out, I just want to leave some thoughts on our mind about joining on to our own.
Teach.
The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teach us that Islam is more than a religion, but in fact, Islam is a complete way of life. Islam is a world within itself. But as I heard someone else say before, you have to deal with religion because, you know, religion is not the enemy. But many of us are done with religion. We hear that with that. Religion is not the enemy, it's the enemy's religion that has deceived us and divided us and made us to feel that we are all different. But as we talk to our people about the program of separation and independence, we got to deal with religion because as we bring the program to our people, the first and the last thing that we normally are arguing about is religion.
Teach.
So the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said religion at its root means to reconnect or rebind the human being back to our God, our culture, and our civilization. That's not the enemy's religion because the enemy wants to keep us disconnected. So we don't really know our own and we don't know what we have been disconnected from. Then maybe the religion that we have, not knowing our God, culture, and religion, maybe that religion is keeping us attached to a source or the wrong source that is in opposition to our liberation. Not saying that any of the prophets of God were incorrect in what they prophesied, but we are now in the time of the presence of God. So teaches the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And we'll go more into that over the next few weeks with all of our presentations. But religion at its root means to reconnect. Religion is an aspect or a component of a nation.
Come on.
Bear with me as I try to get this technical stuff together here. I think we got it. So religion is an aspect. Can everyone see that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Is an aspect or component of a nation, but our people have been taught to believe that religion was all that we needed to survive. We need more than religion, and our people can't depend anymore for other people to do for us, which we are well able to do for ourselves. In fact, today, this generation is waking up, rising up. We are on the move today. So the nation of Islam is that what the term nation implies. We are a fully functioning nation. And like any other nation, we need science and technology. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
We need our own educational system. We need business, trade, and commerce. We need medicine and health and human services. We need an army. We need a military. We need a culture and arts, music, food, a language of our own, like every other civilized nation. Thank Allah for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan for bringing us a new paradigm and a new way of thinking about government. Because God's nation has a spiritual root. And for the record, I just want to add in and qualify that I was blind before I met the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I have no vision of my own. My vision is looking further into his vision and praying to his God that he can help us to bring out of us the gift that he already gave to us before we even were born onto the planet. That's another subject for another time, where we want to make this spiritual component, this spiritual ministry, the center of all our work and activity, the source of our motivations. And if we tie in all these other components that were listed for one common cause, we can have that nation apart from our former slave masters. As the sun gives order to the planets and the heart regulates blood throughout the body, this spiritual component is not greater than the others, but it is at the center, and it is centered upon the will of God. So we say in our Muslim program that we believe further and lastly that Allah is God, and beside him there is no God, and he will bring about a universal government of peace, wherein
come on. Yes.
live in peace together. All of us, whether we say we are Christian, Muslim, or otherwise, we are one people. All praises are due to Allah. We must grow now into nationhood. But even beyond nationhood, every ancient people of antiquity have always had what is known as civilization.
That's right.
What is civilization? Civilization is the process by which a society or place reaches an advanced stage of social and cultural development and organization. So here we are tonight talking about what? The civilized man. Is that right? And the civilized man.
That's right.
And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that civilization is one having knowledge, wisdom, understanding, culture, refinement, and is not savage in the pursuit of happiness. A savage is one who has lost the knowledge of their civilization and is living a lower life, the life that our former slave masters gave to us, which is centered around our appetites. This is why they call us consumers. The Honorable Farrakhan is teaching us to become producers for our community.
Come on now. Come on now.
Tonight, we're talking about the work of civilized people. And Mother Tanetta Muhammad, she had a beautiful quote I just read this morning, but I thought I'd share it. I can't see the side of my screen, but I'll try to get there. Everything in nature,
We see it.
frequency of sound, possessing light and the vibration of the life for the needed to sustain itself in the divine creation. Through the divine teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we are taught the arts and sciences of civilization, which leads to our renewal, regeneration, love, peace, and happiness. And if we know how to apply these principles to our everyday life. This is what we're here to do tonight, brothers and sisters, to not only give the word, but become living examples. And that's the best way we can defend the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. In the next coming weeks, we'll talk a little more about our original civilization, where we are, what we have made, what we own, all over the planet Earth. See, our people in America, we have been made to believe that we are all the people that we have. Made to think that this savage existence, us killing each other, selling drugs to one another, you know, that this is some natural way of life for Black people, and it's not. They want you to believe that we are hopeless, that we are minorities, that we've been abandoned by our own people. But their plan has always been to divide us, to make us worship their way of life, their God, their material things, someone was saying, their money, their greed, their lust, their power, at the expense of our own freedom, justice, and equality. But those days, brothers and sisters, are coming to an end. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan goes into churches and he teaches this scripture from the perspective of nation. But seek ye first the kingdom of God, the nation of God, and its righteousness. And all these things that we pursue will be added unto us.
Yes, sir.
Praises are due to Allah.
Yes,
And
sir.
Farrakhan also says, as we get ready to hear from the minister and close out, I left my quote upstairs, I apologize. But what he said in this particular quote was that in every civilization is a knowledge inherent to that civilization. If that knowledge is finite or not of God, then the civilization that comes from that knowledge is also finite and it has an end. But God's civilization has no beginning or end.
Right.
We want to know today about our own nation.
Yes, sir.
We want to know about the enemy of God who brought something different. Let's go ahead and bear with me 1 second. I want to hear from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan as we close out. All praise is due to Allah.
Brothers and sisters, while we wait for our brother to find his place, remember next week at 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. every Wednesday evening, you can come back to hear more of these teachings on this forum, Civilized Man.
Thank you for the plug, my brother.
And again, brothers and sisters, we do apologize for the delay earlier. There have been some severe storms in the Delaware Valley area. So our beloved student regional minister, Brother Rodney, was not available today. And some of the other participants were not available as well. But next week, Allah willing, we won't have those problems and we'll have a smooth sailing ride. So thank you. Thank you again.
Verse or surah or chapter in the Quran that I shall quote as the basis for this year-long subject. It reads, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. By the time, surely man is in loss except those who believe and do good and enjoin one another to truth and enjoin one another to patience. In this Quranic chapter, time is a yardstick of measurement of consequence. By the time, surely man is in loss. So the time will determine whether we lose, whether we win, whether we live, or whether we die, whether we suffer privation, or whether we grow in prosperity. It all depends on what we do with the knowledge of the time. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said to us that we're not dealing with time with the solar system. We're dealing with the time of a people and a civilization whose time has come to an end. This civilization started, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us, and as it is written in the book of Genesis in the Bible, 4,000 BC, 6,000 years ago. This is not the origin of our solar system or the origin of our world. This is the origin of a people who would bring to the earth a new civilization, but a civilization contrary to the nature of God and the nature in which the universe and the original people of the earth are created. This civilization started with a man named Adam. Many scholars say there are many Adams. Some scholars of Islam say there are 50,000 Adams, but we're dealing with the Adam that brought in this new world. He's not an original man. He's a made man from the original. And that is why the Bible says, let us make man in our image and after our likeness, and give them power and dominion over the fowl of the air, the fish of the sea, and every creeping thing that crawls upon the earth. Well, who is the us from which a new man was made? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us, and scientists bear witness, that the us are the pre-Adamites, and the pre-Adamites are the aboriginal people of the earth. The aboriginal people are the dark people of the earth, the black man and woman of the earth, from species of human being has come. Let us make man in our image and after our likeness. But after they were made, they were given power and dominion to rule over that which they came from. So in the Bible it is written, children are their oppressors and women rule over them. Children meaning a new people on our planet. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad has taught us, and the scholars and scientists bear witness, that this new people are the Caucasian people. They are on our planet. They were given a season to rule and to dominate, but not to rule with righteousness, but to rule with other than righteousness. And that rule was going to be for 6,000 years.
All praise is due to Allah for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Brothers and sisters, why must we join on to our own? It's because it's time. It's time to break the chains. Time is calling and demanding a change from us today. And as we've been waiting for the kingdom of God to come from the sky, God is waiting on us to reclaim our own. Brothers and sisters, if you would like to become a part of the Nation of Islam, help the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, please email us at mosquedvr@gmail.com. That is mosquedvr@gmail.com. Leave us with your name, your phone number, the city which you live, and one of these working representatives will reach out to you. I will give you the next steps of the process, answer any of the questions that you have, and we really look forward to meeting you and seeing what God has wrapped up within you to help us build this great nation. May Allah continue to bless us. Again, email us at mosquedvr@gmail.com. Thank you. Excuse my long presentation. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, sir.
Salam, sir.
Did Brother Michael get knocked off?
Yes, sir, I think you did. You want to close out, Brother Keith?
No, one of you can close out. I'm not, I got too much background noise.
Brothers and sisters, we thank you again as we transition into this new phase of Civilized, man. We had some obstacles tonight. We are improvising, but I hope that you took something from the words that were presented, listen to them again, read and study, and be with us next week as we continue on to please Allah and to help this nation, help the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. We're going to close out in, we don't close out and pray this meeting. May Allah continue to bless us. We'll see you next week here at the same time. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, sir.